everybody, it's Sophie and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies, and today we are actually doing a movie, although later on this evening we will be watching the next episode of MasterChef.
Now, Sophie, I did not finish this movie because I was supposed to be finishing it this morning, and I did a little update video for the channel this morning instead, and so I guess you're just going to have to do the review yourself. Because I haven't finished it. Although I do know what happens in most of the movie. Because I found this... The way that I found this bad movie was that another channel did a review of it. And they made fun of the whole movie. And I wanted to review... This guy did another movie. And he's like gotten rid of all the copies of it. So we couldn't do that. And so... I just decided, whatever, it'll probably be a funny review anyways with what Sophie thinks. So go ahead, Sophie, review the movie. Since yesterday I reviewed My Soul to Take by myself, it's only in fairness you do this one by yourself.
Oh, great. Well, this movie was made in 2002, and the title of it is Ben and Arthur. And Ben and Arthur are gay. And it's confusing about what they want to do, but I guess the crux of it all is they want to get married in California, but they can't do that because this was back when it was only legal, I think, in Vermont and maybe that way in Hawaii. It's been so long I've just forgotten how it started. I think it was like 2 states and then expanded. But then I could be getting that mixed up with the marijuana being legal. And so, but it was, I do remember that it was legal only in very few places. But anyway, that I'm digressing. But Arthur... I'm not even sure where they're working, but it's like some food place, and both of them, and Arthur's tired of it, and he wants to do something else. And I guess if you want to call this comical, this is where some of the comedy comes in when he tries out different jobs, or he tries to find different jobs, and he fails miserably, and I don't know, I thought it was, sorry about that, I thought it was stupid, but also I do want to mention that the intro music into this movie struck me immediately. It was ragtime music. It was the same song that was played for The Sting, with Robert Redford and Paul Newman, and it's an old song. It's, I don't know, I thought it was like the 1860s or 70s, or I don't know, it's old. And that movie, The Sting, was made in 1973, but for some reason that song fit that movie. It did not fit with this movie at all, and I think they played the entire thing at the beginning to intro the movie. So I just wanted to bring that up. That started it off wrong and not good. So I hate doing this by myself, but anyway, Arthur went out all these jobs, and he failed, or he just didn't want to try anymore, and that really wasn't made clear. He ran out of jobs to try to find, I'm not sure, or jobs that he wanted to find.
Look, Sophie, I got the radio working from Goodwill. This little tiny radio. Listen.
It's called a transistor radio.
You can barely hear it, but I just thought that I should update you on that, Sophie.
Okay. So... here they are. I guess he goes to his brother's house, Arthur does, and his brother is I don't even know how to explain this. I don't want to offend anybody. I'm just going to call him a Jesus freak. And what I mean by this is that he doesn't like gays, and he thinks they need to be reprogrammed and they need to turn it back into straight, which is just kind of ludicrous. But I think they still love each other, but it's just a total disagreement, of course. And so he asked him for money. Arthur asked his brother for money. And he asked him for $2,000. Well, I guess Ben agreed. It's not Ben. His brother agreed if they would if he would bring his gay fiance, because I don't know if they were married yet when they went there, but he's supposed to bring him there, and then then his brother has a friend, and they try to make them come on to their side about not being gay anymore and trying to do something about it. And there was lots of like ridiculous things, like some of these jobs were ridiculous, and I think I don't know what they were trying to do. I'm not sure that's the thing. You have a movie and you have it being horror, or you have crime, or you have a romantic comedy, or and this movie do these weird things that they were ridiculous, but then really there's an undercurrent of seriousness, like a dark seriousness. The movie turns out to be very, very, very dark. It's like the kind of day we're having here. Anyway, so they leave. I guess he agrees to give them the money. He never said anything. He never confirmed it, but I guess it was just supposed to be understood. This is the kind of movie where we have to write some of the story. We have to write ourselves at home and come up with plausible explanations for certain events happening, or why other events didn't happen, and and that's ridiculous and terrible in and of itself. I hope you can hear me, because I'll get closer. Okay, well, so the friend of the brother says, well, I can get this special holy water recipe, and then if you can get your brother to drink it, that'll turn him into a straight person. He didn't say it like that, but he basically meant that the way he worded it. And I'm like, oh my God, is that the most ridiculous thing? And you don't know what's in it. The brother didn't know what was in it. He says there was it's a recipe for holy water that changes you back into being straight. He didn't say it like that, but that was supposed to put him on the road to being straight. And so that was ridiculous in and of itself. Just that there's some kind of holy water he can drink, and you don't know if there's drugs in it or some kind of poison, or I'm like, and then all these people started getting guns. That's where the next thing comes in. Arthur gets a gun, and I guess Arthur got the gun, either he or his roommate, and then the brother got a gun, and they kind of looked exactly the same, and I'm just wondering if it was the same gun, but it wasn't, because in the final scene I think you see both guns, so that would mean that they both went to places and got their own guns. But basically, Arthur and his fiance, they went, I guess they went to Hawaii? No, they went to Vermont, that's right. And you couldn't tell by looking at the environment that you were in a different place. The only way you could tell that they had even traveled to a different place to get married was they showed this plane taking off and a plane landing, and Marco said through his research that that was like a FedEx plane, or a cargo type plane that had mail or packages on it, and both times, and which is hilarious because I think on the tail, if you really look closely, I'm watching this on my phone, you could see the logo on the plane, what the logo would be. And I didn't really bother to look. I just took Marco's word for it because he does do a lot of preliminary research on this movie. Because like he said, he really wanted to do the other movie, but there's no copies of it to be had. So they go to Vermont, they get married, then they go back, and the brother is still on his quest to change his brother from being gay to straight, and he puts a gun to him, and he makes him take this concoction that his friend made, and of course it didn't work. This is stupid and ridiculous anyway. And I just don't know what this is all. I don't know what they're trying to do. Just show every negative thing that people try to do, or ideas that they have about gay people and what they think the origin of the being gay, and changing them back, and just every little negative thing that's come out in the paper and the news or over the years. And of course this is 2002, so they still have ideas like these floating around, I'm sure, but I think there was probably a lot more back then. And basically, and the rest, and I talked about the music. I'm sorry I'm going back and forth. I'm just thinking about, because I'm having to cover the movie alone. I'll go back to the music, and like I said, that beginning, I mean, they played the whole song, and I'm thinking like, oh, Paul Newman, Robert Redford, The Sting, and I'm thinking about that over and over, and I'm thinking about the person who played the song and made the song, and how that just has no relationship to this movie. You think this movie's happy and funny, and boy, it's so far from the truth, it's not even funny. But anyway, the rest of the movie, when they were, like, the brother was doing all kinds of, he killed, they got a lawyer, because of his brother, and the brother killed the lawyer. He shot the lawyer to death, which was why? Because she had the gall to take a case like their case, and they're both gay, and it's really odd. And then the minister, which I think this was terrible, the minister of the church that the brother goes to, they kick him out because of his brother being gay, and that's another ridiculous thing. So that's what I'm saying. Every negative thing that you could think of happens. Every single thing. Because I thought that was terrible. Because it had nothing to do with him. And so he was very upset about it. In fact, he really kind of went a little crazy. I think that's when he started killing everybody. And he actually became like a serial killer. And then Arthur wasn't so good himself. He did something really awful with the preacher of the church, which they showed as one room with a cross, and the minister sits there, and I think he has a collar on, and because he has to be distinguished amongst the other cast members that he's the minister, and he puts this stuff, I think it's a chloroform, and he puts it on his face and he burns the church down. I mean, they just start going back and forth, and the brother comes to Arthur's house, and I don't know, I guess he was there to kill his brother, kill both people, and he just kills both people, and then Arthur kills him. They have a little shootout, and basically that's the end of the movie. It's just bizarre, and so I gave it a terrible review because first that music, and then I forgot to say the rest of the time they spent, like when he's chasing after, sneaking around, and they play appropriate sound that goes with that. That was good if you want to look at something good, which I hate to, I don't want to be so negative. I don't like that. And Marco's right, I do have trouble with that because I just hate being so critical, but sometimes I just get really angry because these people get to make these movies, they're trash, and it's really hard to even call them a movie at times. We've seen, especially during this, we're watching these bad movie week or bad movie month, and you're thinking, like, how could this even be a movie? It's more like a project that went awry. And this was more like a movie, except for the acting was terrible, and the music was, with the rest of it, when they're sneaking around and if somebody's about to be killed, they played the right kind of, it was more like sounds. It wasn't really like music, it was more like a sound. But anyway, but that storyline where it's all negative, and they pick out every single negative thing they can pick out. I never heard of this where there's holy water, and they could have just made that up for the movie, but I don't know. You never know. That could have been a story floating around amongst people who are Catholic, maybe, but I don't even want to say that because that may not be true. It's just that nobody talks about holy water unless they're Catholic, as far as my experience. I could be wrong. We're Episcopalian. We have holy water and taking the the wafers and the wine, when you do communion. I think everybody has that, though, but they just don't do it as often as, like, maybe the Episcopalians and the Catholics. But anyway, that aside, it's just every single negative thing that happened, and I still don't get why they couldn't get married. Oh, I know. They didn't call it a marriage. They call it what was it? A civil union or something like that. So some of the things that they were, the lawyer told them that didn't apply to them, and so the brother could leave them alone. And because they weren't really married, it was a civil, they call it in Vermont, they call it a civil union. So it could have been the fact that maybe during that year gay marriage wasn't legal yet. When it was called gay marriage, it was just this thing called a civil union. And so anyway, I don't know what else to say. It was bad because the acting was horrible. The storyline was, I don't know what the storyline was supposed to be. Two brothers who go crazy on each other, but it's not real loud and that dramatic. It lasted like 2 seconds, and it went pretty fast. That's one thing, and that's good because it was so bad. It was good that it went fast. And all the stereotypes about gay marriage and being gay, every single stereotype on the planet, coming out, and which that's a term related to being gay and coming out. But I mean, every single storyline in the news, every single idea, and either wrong or right or true or false, everything. And it's like, I don't know what they were, I don't know the purpose of the movie. And that's part of the problem too. I didn't know the purpose. The storyline was the brother did not like his gay brother being gay, wanted to change him. The gay brother says no, and then the one who and then the one who isn't gay, the brother who isn't gay, he's a Jesus person, meaning it's just I don't think a church, if it's really reputable, I don't think they would kick out a person whose relative was gay, because that is not that's not Christianity or any other. It could be something else, but if I'll just speak about Christianity because that's what it supposedly it was. I don't think that would happen, but I could be wrong. But that just doesn't seem right to me. I mean, anybody can do whatever they want, and maybe it could happen, but to me, I thought it was pretty dramatic, and it set him off. He needed that church. He was very faithful. He went every week. He talked about it. He embraced all of their values and everything they espoused about Christianity. And I guess, it would be devastating to him to be kicked out. Because that's why he was desperately trying to change his brother back so he could go back to the church, being a member. And just the thing with the holy water, and then they both get guns. Why didn't they call the police? Which I'm trying to remember if they did call the police. They called the lawyer at the beginning to help them against the brother. I wasn't clear on that. And so anyway, you have a convoluted storyline, you have all these stereotypes, it's all negative. Everybody dies in the movie except for the friend of the brother. He told him to go wait in the car, so he has this little gun with him, and then that's when he proceeds to kill the husband, because they had, even though it was a quote civil union, sorry, I have a dry throat again. Even though it was a civil union, it's still, they're gay, they're together. His brother called the guy's husband, and I think I have to have a drink. And he didn't like him. He didn't want him to be there, and so he killed him first. And then the two brothers got into this thing, and they killed each other. And the brother had already gone and burned down the church with the priest in it, or the preacher, sorry. Okay, I had a drink. That helps. So, I gave it, our policy at this review channel is to give a movie or TV, well, it's really a movie, or it's a season of a show, or all the seasons of a show. TV show is to give it a food review. And Marco says, according to his research, we're the only people who do this, is to give it whatever we review, not whatever, but any movie we review, a food review. And any TV episode, like let's say MasterChef tonight, we give it a grade, which is kind of ironic because it is a food show, but That's just our policy with TV shows. Unless it's the whole show, it's over all the seasons, like I just said. So my food review of this is recently we decided to have, for dinner, we decided to have Chicago dogs. And if you don't know, Chicago dog, it's the brand is Vienna, the hot dog usually, and then you get the special green relish. It's a special with the Chicago dog. I mean,
you're rating a gay movie hot dog, Safi? God.
Marco. And it was, and you have tomato pieces, and you have onions. Oh, I know. Well, this stuff is relish. It's like a relish. And you have these poppy seed buns. I don't eat poppy seeds. And so somebody in the house decided they were going to get these gross hot dogs we've never had. And the bad part is that if something doesn't smell right, and I'm not talking about that it's rotten, I'm just talking about if it's not going to taste good because the way it was put together or whatever, or it's a cheese maybe, just anything. If it doesn't smell right, it usually isn't good. I mean, this has been the case no matter whether I've been taking this medication or not. And I thought they smelled terrible. And not that they're rotten. Like I said, they're made of something that is just gross. And my husband's brother said they were the best hot dogs in the whole world. And they were really good. Well, you have to be suspicious about that because he really doesn't have, he has a lot of differing taste. And that's because he's a different person. You know, everybody's different. But I just thought if we could, we have a hard time getting Vienna hot dogs here because we don't live in Chicago. And so we usually use Boar's Head. I'll just say that for the most part. Because that's I think they're located in Cincinnati or in somewhere that they sell to Kroger, which is where we go to buy our food for the most part. And that's the kind of hot dogs we get. Well, he gets this weird kind. I don't even know how he got it or where he got it. And they smelled terrible. And then when he cooked them, I took one bite and I spit it out. I didn't even eat it. In fact, I don't even know what I ate for dinner. I think I had snacks like chips and cheese puffs and little pretzels with a cheese ball. That's what I had for dinner because it was it just turned me completely off. Well, I guess we had beans, so I might have had some beans, like canned beans. And those were okay. But anyway, that's what the movie was. It was bad because it was so dark and black and like it was just like every negative thing, everybody dying off except this guy nobody cares about. He's the one that came up with the potion with the holy water, homemade holy water, in a special little bottle that you do see in a holy water bottle, and that's what he's known for, and he's Arthur's brother's buddy. And they go to the same church together. But you don't really have any. It's almost like they were gay too and just didn't want to admit it. Because neither one was married. And you know, sometimes people react the worst because they fear the thing about themselves or they're doing something wrong themselves. So they and I've seen this over and over in reality. And so anyway, he's the only one that was left alive. The lawyer got killed, the preacher got killed, the two brothers got killed, and that's horrible. Just horrible. And oh, I know. I know what happened. Well, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go into it about the husband. He was married to a woman because he thought, or he was trying to be straight for everybody, which has happened in real life. Just another negative thing. And so anyway, I gave it this bad review with the hot dog because it was so. It's the only thing I can think of, but it's so bad. And I watched the whole movie. It does go really fast, I'll give it that. And the music they picked that's after the intro was fit with what was going on, pretty much. It wasn't outstanding or anything, it's nothing memorable, but at least it fit. I still can't figure out why they would pick this ragtime. Maybe it was one of the person who made the movie, maybe that was his favorite song or something. I don't know, and he just wanted to have a movie that had that song. Because, that song in The Sting, I mean, it fit perfectly, and it made in fact, it caused kind of a resurgence in that kind of music. And I think, maybe people were making music boxes with it, and, it was played at places, and it's very specific. It's done on the piano, and it's not something that you sing or play with an orchestra or anything. But anyway, that's diverging again. But that because I feel like I've cheated you, but it's not worth it. The movie's not worth it. I mean, if you don't even have to pay attention to the news totally to have heard a lot of these stereotypes. Now, I've never heard about the holy water potion, and that may have been something made up for the movie, but everything else is just awful. And then everybody dying. I think usually movie makers don't like that to happen. They've had like It's a Wonderful Life. I know that's an old movie, but I think they had like focus group audiences or something, and they had a negative ending first. But when they played it, they didn't like it, and audiences didn't like it, so they changed the ending. And so this happens in modern day movies, I believe. They do have focus group audiences. I think nowadays it's more like they don't care what people think, and they just put this trash out, and there's been a lot of trash. I mean, you don't have to look at these bad movies to find trash, because there's a lot out there. I mean, and that's why I get so angry and say these negative, and we both get angry. We both say, give these negative reviews, not because we think we're better or wiser. It's just the fact that you got these people, they get a lot of money, and I don't think these people got a lot of money, but these big high dollar movies, they get all this money to make a movie, and they have a shitty story and shitty acting, and just they come up with the stupidest things, and it's almost insults the people who watch the show. We just want things to be better. That's all. And we may not have all the ideas, which, why should we? We're not the writers of these shows or movies. It's somebody else, and they're getting paid good money to do this. So anyway, that's it. That's all I have to say. I'm sure Marco will not be happy with the movie either, but I really don't think he'll like it either. So, bye everybody.